Hello. Welcome back to Wait, You're Mad. It's another week, another episode, and today we're talking about something that hits close to home, literally. We're diving into supporting local businesses and building strong communities. We have the perfect guest for this conversation. Liz Fleming, also known as Liz from Iowa, is a proud Iowa native, a content creator, digital strategist, and a passionate advocate for social change. She's dedicated to helping nonprofits, small businesses, and mission-driven organizations tell their stories and thrive.
Whether she's partnering with brands, writing for newsrooms, or speaking at events, the goal is always the same: to bring people together and make a positive impact. So welcome, Liz. We're excited to have you.
Thank you. Thank you, Maddie. Thank you, Lexi. I'm so flattered at everything you just said and really appreciate you having me on.
Your list of accolades went on and on, so it was really hard to keep it short and sweet. I'm not going to lie.
When we first started the podcast, we were like, we got to ask her to be on it, but we got to get some followers first.
Well, I appreciate that. I have a podcast too with one of my friends, Iowa We Can Do Better. And it is that thing, like the kind of feeling inside where it's like, we need to post stuff, but we don't currently have the following to really get it there. But you just got to dive in and do it. So thank you for asking me.
So, Liz, before we get into all things local, we have to ask you, what are you mad about this week?
What am I not mad about this week? I work in politics. Everything makes me mad. Especially right now, just with everything going on. But for the sake of everyone else's ears, I'm not going to get too political this episode. I am mad at myself, kind of, and whoever didn't put salt down on the steps leading up to the Iowa State Capitol, because I fell and I hurt myself, and it was really humbling and embarrassing, and I just can't believe it. It was just like there's a little bit of sleet going on, but something about the material on the steps just made it so slippery. And of course, I'm leaving the state capitol and I'm like walking down the steps and then just ate shit completely. So mad at myself, mad at whoever wasn't maintaining the steps.
How many people were watching?
See, I don't know, because so the Capitol sits up on a hill and then there's a bunch of steps leading up to it. So anyone who was near a window, if they were looking out, it definitely saw. But thankfully there weren't too many people around facing me. And I tried to recover gracefully, but honestly, there's so many steps that I just kept having to climb down them like baby steps, I don't know. It was pretty embarrassing. Like, maybe not embarrassing, but very humbling to be like, take it easy. You're going to eat shit. You're going to fall on your ass. There is nothing more humbling than falling on your ass as an adult.
Lex, we talked a little bit before this, and we actually shared the same angst.
The same mad. Yeah.
Do you want to share it since it's
I'm
yours?
The victim. I'm the victim. This week I am mad because we finally almost had a TikTok go viral and we had to take it down because I was getting harassed so badly on it. And we finally were like, it's not worth it. It's not even our demographic, but it was cool. We just did we had a goal for this year to switch up our content a little bit more on TikTok and just post some like normal TikToks versus just reusing our reels and posting them from the podcast. So we did a silly little TikTok where we were drinking espresso martinis, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so good. And I just kind of dived face first for the swirl of whipped cream on top.
I did see this.
And I just
I saw this.
You saw it before we took it down. So
yes, I loved it.
We watched it. We watched it back and we were like, oh, it might be a little suggesting just like with the flicker of the tongue. But we're like, but it's just like funny. We posted. It's literally thousands of men commenting on it. Like it was all sexual.
This wasn't her first time. And it got to the point where it was like concerning as somebody who she has her day job. And
so I was like, gosh, if I'd like, unfortunately, you got to think people in the field, if they saw this, they would not respect me as much anymore, especially since the majority of them are men. But I was honestly mad because I was like, you guys took a silly thing and you ruined it for me. And it had how many views did it have when we took it off?
Like 100,000, and it was like really quickly. So
It was
just
like
kept
quickly
growing
kept
fast.
going.
Coulda had millions.
So
Coulda.
yeah,
That makes me mad for
but
you.
I did not. Yeah, and that's what Maddie was like, let's just take it down. You can't be the next Hawk Tuah girl.
Yeah. You're like, should I be concerned? I was like, it's completely up to you. But if you're that worried about it, maybe it's not worth it, you know?
Yeah. So it could have been something great. Thanks a lot, boys.
You'll get them next time.
Yeah.
You'll get a different idea, and yeah, it'll hit. It will.
Unfortunately, I think that's just kind of my humor, so I don't know how to go around it, but we'll figure it out.
Disabled comments.
Yeah, but we did learn that,
You're
you know,
right.
it's the things that you don't think about too much that just pop off.
100%.
Yeah. So maybe we need to not try so hard. Apparently, that's the moral of the story.
Okay, I want to segue into something fun that I want to point out. We are all originally from Dubuque, Iowa, which is crazy.
We are. Amazing.
Yeah.
I love it.
We were all born and raised along the Mississippi River, Catholic schools, Catholic churches. So we all come from like the same vibe. We're all here.
We all get it.
And so naturally today's episode feels special because we're talking about supporting local businesses and communities. And this is something that started for us back in Dubuque. I want to ask you both, what is the first local business you remember loving or being obsessed with growing up in Dubuque?
Ooh, can I go?
Yes.
So, from a young age, my dad, from when I was a young age, and he was younger then too, I guess, but like growing up as a kid, Saturday morning we would get donuts from Donut Boy in Dubuque.
Mm-hmm.
If you're familiar, it was like a very tiny kind of hole in the wall place next to, what's the place called? The bar next to it.
The doghouse.
The doghouse. So like the same building as the doghouse. And it was perfect. They had the best variety of donuts. The quality was there. The hometown, like close-knit feeling. There used to be like every old man possible sitting at a table reading the newspaper and shooting the shit in the morning. And Donut Boy, just like till I die, Donut Boy. But unfortunately, Donut Boy closed.
It is no longer. And they just opened up a new cafe in it, actually. The owner of the doghouse bought it and opened up a cafe. I can't remember what it's called right now. I was going to say it. I probably should have.
I was not aware of that.
Very recently.
That Donut Boy's different now?
That it's a cafe. Yeah, I did hear that it was closing because that was an iconic place, and that is a big L for Dubuque. Sorry, Dubuque.
That one stung. It really did.
Because where do you even go in Dubuque for donuts now? Who has them besides like chains?
Because you know what? The other great donut place was Habits, and they also closed.
Habits closed? Those were the mini donuts, yeah? Like
yeah.
Oh, those were
They
good.
started off at the market and with the food truck, and then they bought a place, and yeah, we would get them for work all the time. They unfortunately closed too. I think Dubuque needs a donut spot because Dunkin' Donuts is out of donuts every time I go there too. So
really? See, I've never tried there. I usually am getting like coffee if I go through the drive-thru, but
yeah.
Hey, Dubuquers, support your local donut shop, bro.
Yeah. When
Resurrect
someone tries
Donut
again,
Boy.
let's let it thrive. Yeah. That was a good spot.
Yeah.
I love Donut Boy. I'm
Rest
going to
in
go to
peace.
apparel. I basically not only spent all my money, but lived at Reality Check on University in Dubuque.
Reality Check. I haven't heard
Yes.
of Reality Check in so long.
I know, and the young people don't know, but for those who don't know, it was a local skateboard, snowboard, piercing shop. Like it was like a lifestyle shop, and it had all the best brands, all the coolest brands that you wanted to wear. Snowboards and skate decks lining the walls. I got my belly button pierced there when I was like 15, and everyone that worked there was like our friends. So it was a good spot to hang out. They had shoes. Yeah. What a great
I was
spot.
going to say, my sister got her tragus pierced there, and I was there in the
Oh,
back room, like, this place rocks. Went and got some
yes.
snowboarding gear there, like years later. Reality check.
I
What
was
is it
such a
now?
poser because of that place.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. Shout out to Mike and Barb Heights that used to own it. They're doing their own thing now. They're retired. I think Barb still pierces somewhere else. I can't remember where she is right now. She pierces part-time out of somewhere, but I know they have a farm that they love tending to, and but we will always miss it. It was such a staple.
I love that they were able to like live the classic life of owning a local shop, then retiring to a farm. Like, I need more of those vibes in my life, please. That sounds perfect.
Right? Agreed.
It does.
What about you, Maddie?
In Dubuque, my family has a special place in their hearts for a business that's been open for over 45 years. I actually looked that up today. And it's the Shot Tower Inn.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
We constantly gather there. The Shot Tower Inn is actually known for like for those who don't know, it's known for their grinder sandwiches, chicken, but most importantly, their pizza. And when you walk in, the bartenders and the servers will probably know your name, at least my family's, because we go there all the time. And that speaks like the kind of place that it is. And every time we go, we order our classic favorite, the Canadian bacon sauerkraut pizza. And that is our go to. Have you guys had that or do
Yeah.
you like it?
Yes.
So I'm a bit pickier. We, as my family, has frequented the Shot Tower too for many years. We're usually just like a large sausage and pepperoni pizza. We're pretty plain Jane. But on that note, at the Shot Tower Inn, they used to have a gumball machine that did the most. Do you remember this?
I don't remember. Oh, wait, is it out in the lobby area?
It was out in the lobby area, and you would put in a quarter, and like not only would the gumball come down to you, it went through like a roller coaster of lights and sounds, and it was talking to you the whole time. And that's all I wanted at the Shot Tower Inn. And it's gone now. Very sad, but I guess it's time.
Memory
Just
unlocked,
hearing that.
Liz.
Yeah, just
Memory
hearing that is so
unlocked.
nostalgic. I don't know if I remembered that exact one, but it just took me back to like even the smell of a pizza parlor. I know Happy Joe's had something similar with bouncy balls, I think.
Oh
And it just,
yeah.
yes, just the whole vibe. Take me
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, I even tried working at the Shot Tower for like 2 weeks, but then I got fired for serving someone underage. So
Ooh,
they were my
Oh.
that's rough.
friends, so it was completely my fault. But
Who was it?
Brandy,
Oh, of course it was.
yeah, I was like, hey, I work here. You can come in. I'll serve you. Like, oh, great idea, Mad. Great idea.
They'll never know. That's hilarious.
Lesson learned.
Lesson learned. I know, Maddie, you and I, especially over the holiday season, made a goal to support local a little bit more, especially with our gift giving around that time. But today we wanted to talk to Liz about why supporting local matters so much. So I guess we can start with what the impact of small businesses on communities is.
So I will use Des Moines as an example because that's where I live, and I've really seen the small business community thrive here. There's one neighborhood in particular, if you're ever in Des Moines, called Highland Park or Oak Park Place, I think was another name for it at one point. But the fact of the matter is there are small business leaders in our communities who are creating third places for us. If you're familiar with the concept, back in the day, people used to have three places that they would spend the majority of their lives. So work, home, Third space used to be like church for a lot of people. That's not really so much now. For some people, it's a bar. For some people, it's a coffee shop. And there are a couple of business leaders who, in this Highland Park area, have created spaces for people to come in and build those communities and have that in-person interaction that so many of us are missing. When people start businesses at the local level, they are making a direct investment in the town that we live in. So, giving people a place to go, giving vendors places to sell the goods that they provide, creating jobs for people to go and work and make a livable wage. Yeah, I get very excited about small businesses and how much they can grow in a short amount of time when people actually are committed to being there and investing their money locally. Local dollars stay local. For every dollar that you spend at your local coffee shop, that's staying in your community. Not to shit on Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts or whatever it may be, but that money isn't staying in your community. That is going to a big corporation that likely doesn't really give a shit about Dubuque, Iowa, or Des Moines, Iowa, or wherever you are. So, supporting local businesses that are locally owned is a vote with your dollar. Making the community you want to see with the money you have and showing interest in those highly local, close-knit community spaces. That was a
I,
lot of word jumble. All of that to say, shop local, please. These are people who actually live in your community and care about your community and will reinvest the money they make into your community.
yes, like their children are attending local schools and going and attending local lessons. So these businesses are the ones that are going to donate to school fundraisers. I know when I've been on boards in the past, we don't call Starbucks to donate for
No.
our local cause. We call every local business, and they always give because they have a vested interest in maintaining those relationships and in the community. You're right. They don't just sell products. They're selling relationships and strengthening our economy.
It just keeps your money local. It keeps your business local. It keeps the local economy flowing, and it's creating jobs, creating livelihoods right in your community with the people you interact with and go to school with or attend church with. It keeps it in the neighborhood.
Yeah, such a basic thing to say with such a big impact. Spending your money local keeps it local.
It's not easy. It's
Hmm.
not. I mean, with the click of a button, we can have anything delivered to us from Amazon, from Walmart, from what have you. And there is a time and a place for that. You cannot shame people for wanting convenience because oftentimes, especially in the state of Iowa, that's how people can get access to goods. Not every town has a Walmart. Not every town has a grocery chain. So, of course, there's a time and a place for people to order online from organizations, but think of the impact of what that dollar or what that amount of money could mean in your local economy. I'm really lucky. I'm friends with some business owners. Like I mentioned, Highland Park is a great destination in Des Moines. There's an organization or a business called The Collective. I've made friends with Jamie, who owns The Collective. It's not just me going and buying products at XYZ store, minding my own business, going to self checkout, and then leaving. It's having an interaction, talking to Jamie, talking about what's happening in the neighborhood, talking about new products that come in, and building relationships that actually mean something. It's not every day that you are able to interact with people anymore. A lot of people work from home, a lot of people live most of their lives online. So, having a place to go and speak to people and build relationships is also incredibly important.
Hmm.
Absolutely. And speaking of a neighborhood like Highland Park, I feel like that has such a strong identity, right? And that makes Des Moines have a particular identity that brings people to it. When we are thinking of think of your favorite city that you love. It's not the chain stores that you go there to visit. It's the locally owned restaurants, books shops, coffee shops, and boutiques that like they create the sense of the place. And so I think Highland Park is like a beautiful instance of that. And that's just one pocket, right? There's so many of them.
And I think we can
Totally.
all all relate on being from Dubuque that Galena is also another great spot that has like all local. There is not a chain on that strip. And I
And
love the
people
community
love
they have
it.
there. Yes, their community is amazing. They're always investing in. I know I dated someone whose family lived there, and the amount that they're like, we need to go to Main Street, and like they're like, we didn't spend enough money on our local shops this month. We need to go spend money. It's just such a new concept, but it
Yeah,
works.
well, you think about places like Galena, and what do people like about Galena? People like that there's local shops.
Hmm.
People like that there's a walkable kind of street promenade thing that people can organically window shop, run into people, pop into a coffee shop. People like being around other people. Not all the time. Some of us are a little bit of introverts, but for the most part, people like to have that interaction and that feeling of community. And we've been doing a really bad job of fostering that. Not our fault. We had a pandemic. There was a lot of stuff going on there for a minute, but people are falling back into that need for a third space or need for interaction and feeling like they're a part of something.
Hmm.
I know we talked a little bit about convenience being a huge factor. Are there any other barriers that people face when trying to support local business that you try to help these businesses overcome?
Yes. I mean, everything kind of has a cost. So sometimes things that you buy locally cost a little more. There's not a widespread cookie cutter kind of system behind a local shop or a local store or service that's mass producing products or what have you to make things less expensive. So there is a little bit of a cost that people either perceive or are scared of in shopping local sometimes. Oftentimes, no. Oftentimes, you're paying a little bit extra for a product in person, but you would have paid that in shipping or you would have paid that in gas to drive God knows where to find the product. So there are trade offs for everything. I think it's our responsibility to recognize that there is a little bit of effort and possibly a little bit of a upcharge for getting services or products from a local place, but it's worth it. Again, that money's staying in your community. You are building your community as you spend in your community.
Are there some other maybe free or low cost ways to support local businesses?
There are so many free ways that you can support local businesses. Not only word of mouth, which is a long relied upon marketing technique, telling your friends if you've had a positive experience or a transaction somewhere local, that really makes an impact. That's a ripple effect because then you've got other people coming into the store and having the same experience and telling their friends. Think of that concept, that word of mouth concept, but online. It costs nothing to like someone's Facebook page or to follow their Instagram account. And to continuously support them is something that costs you nothing but makes a big difference in their business. Speaking as an entrepreneur, as a social media marketer too, things have a ripple effect. Things kind of snowball. So if you are looking at a post from a local business and you like it and you share it, other people see it, other people like it, other people share it. That kind of chain reaction and getting that kind of the hype up for local businesses and local services is a big game changer. We operate in what's called an attention economy right now. There are a lot of things vying for your attention and trying to break through the digital noise. If you're able to help a local business do that by passing their information or their post along to somebody or your audience, that's great work. And again, free.
Yeah, and I think people are getting so much more intentional about that, which I am loving to see. Like, look at these people getting lines for these businesses that go viral. I mean, it's like, remember how in the past they called it like the Oprah effect, where like one feature on her show would catapult a business to the point where they weren't even able to, complete their orders. Today, I feel like it's all local influencers that are giving off this same effect, which is super cool, right? Because like now businesses don't need that massive budget for marketing. It's like a strong story, good products means that they're going to get that attention. But then also it means that more businesses are going to have a better mission and, be more intentional about their products too, right? I'm assuming that you have seen this. I mean, this is what you do. You probably see this like it's grow and grow and grow.
Yeah. It's been really fun to partner with some brands as kind of like an influencer. It's weird to say, so it's in air quotes. But I think about the audience that I have and how I've organically grown it. And when a brand reaches out to me and they're like, hey, we have this really cool product, would you mind sharing it with your audience? If it's a cool product, I will share that shit all the live long day. There was a deodorant company that reached out to me and they're like, here is a eco-friendly deodorant. Can we send it to you and can you share it with your followers? I'm like, absolutely. Deodorant, I'm going to be using it anyway. I really like your design. I love your product. They put a lot of thought and detail into the product itself, as well as the marketing kind of brief that they sent me. It's like, absolutely, across the board. I am so happy to share this with anybody. And also, it's coming from me. People know me. It's authentic to them, and they believe me. And I believe in the product. So it's a win-win for everybody around when you really feel like you're working with a product or a brand that cares and you get to pass that along to people that you care about too.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever said no to influence a product?
I usually just don't respond. I'm terrible. It's like the Irish goodbye of talking to people, just looking at the message and being like, oh, I don't think so. There have been like podcast bros that have reached out to me to like have them come and speak on their podcast. And I'm like, nah, like I don't really believe in your message. Not so much.
That makes sense. That's good.
You just got to draw the line.
Back to the influence. Why am I doing it now too? I'm not one.
The word like used to, when it first initially came out, it kind of like had this like, I don't want to say negative thing to it, but it was kind of like, I mean, I guess, yes, influencers in the wild, like really coined that, like, it was kind of like a negative or like self-indulgent kind of thing. But look at how it's turning around now, and people are, I can't think of the word.
People are more receptive
they're relying
to
on it a
influencers
lot
now.
Too. Yeah,
they know that the brands and the products that people are putting out there resonate with their values.
So there's like the mega influencer with millions of followers. There's hundreds of thousands of followers for like a nano influencer. There's different levels, but like even if you have a small audience, if they're engaged and if you have built a rapport with the people that you're constantly creating content for, it's like a performance almost sometimes, they believe you, and that's an impactful messenger of whatever they're trying to sell or convince.
Yeah, and that kind of flows into what I was saying, is that you don't have to be an influencer to leave a review, and that's another free thing you can do, and a thing I rely on a lot when I'm shopping, and I really need to get better at leaving reviews for products I love, especially at a local level.
You are so right. Exactly. Leaving reviews, a free thing, takes a couple minutes, but it means a lot because I rely on reviews too. Before I go and buy something or go to a restaurant, I'm looking at what the reviews say, and they're not always great reviews for everything, but if you can leave a positive review, that's very impactful.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about negative reviews? Do you leave them? Do you not?
I think negative review, any kind of, it depends where it comes from. If it comes from a place that's going to make the business realize they have something to fix and make them better as a business, that is one thing. If it's someone just hating on them and, just being really negative and ugly for no reason, I think that's another thing.
Oh, yeah. Well, most people, if they are going to leave a review, it's because they're like really honked off about something. For the most part, like people aren't leaving reviews for good experiences. They're leaving reviews for really excellent experiences or really shitty ones for the most part.
That's so true. I think personally, if I had something some sort of criticism to give a business, I would try reaching out privately before ever posting, which I've never posted a negative review. But that's where my head would go, not to put them on blast.
I can't do that to other business owners. It's like it affects your business. It really affects your business. Can you share an example of a small business that thrived because of strong community support?
Ooh. See, what comes to mind here, I am thankful to be very good friends with a gal named Sarah Bowes. And Sarah is originally from New York, moved to Des Moines, and started making TikTok content. So she went to Maccabee's Deli and she made a TikTok about it, and it got millions of views. And the deli, like, since then, first of all, they love Sarah because she put them on blast and they've brought in a bunch of business. But just shining a light on people who are making a really good product or a really good sandwich and letting other people know this shit pops has been game changing for them. And I love to see people get really hyped about something like that and want to move their asses and go to the place and try the thing that they saw online and support a local business. That always comes to mind for me. That, or, I mean, there's a coffee shop in Des Moines that was hit by a car twice. I don't know if you've seen this, but they had like a big window. It's called Northern Vessel. I don't really go there, but it was hit by a car twice. And both times the community just like rallied around and supported them. They showed up at the farmers market because they serve coffee there. They knew they couldn't go to the shop to get the coffee and support the business. They would go wherever they were having a pop-up. They would buy ahead. They'd buy business cards ahead. People were buying apparel, what have you, to support a business that means a lot to them. People like to go into the coffee shop to see their friends, hang out with neighbors, get to know people, drink some delicious coffee. So yeah, of course people rallied around that and sat with them until their window was fixed twice by the car that drove through it.
That's such bad luck.
I know, I'm like, how does that happen
mean,
twice?
Yeah. At that point, it's location, but
yeah. Oops. Gosh, that's terrible.
Have you heard of do you remember the Vietnam Cafe in the Merle Hay Mall in Des Moines?
No. See, I just moved here a few years ago. Was this open a few years ago? Or is this older?
So I think it was 2023. And since she's in the Merle Hay Mall, there was a rise in rent and obviously disappearing foot traffic in the mall. And she had gotten a loan out to get her through the pandemic. And then basically, I think in 2023, she was really struggling to stay afloat, but called in the community. Somebody posted something. There was a GoFundMe. People showed up in droves, shared her story online. It was in the newspaper. They raised tens of thousands of dollars to help her pay her loan and her rent back to the mall. And it is just perfect proof that, like, when a community shows up for a business, it makes such a big difference. And it was a locally loved place. And yeah, I love that story. And it's Des Moines must be doing, like, they do something different here because people stand the fuck up for the businesses here. It's really cool to see.
I want to play a little game with you guys called Local Love. We'll throw some of our favorite local spots out. I have some categories and we can take turns. So we'll start with the local spot that is most likely to cure a bad day.
Should this be in Dubuque? Should we keep it Dubuque centric?
Dubuque or Des Moines. Dubuque or Des Moines. Either one.
Local spot that is certain to fix a bad day.
Yes.
In Des Moines, my go-to is the Slowdown in Highland Park. I'm Highland Park forever. I wish I lived there. Someday I'll buy myself a house in Highland Park. But the Slowdown, great place to go.
What is that?
You're gonna run into somebody. It's a coffee shop. But they did a really
Hmm.
good job of making it a community space too. So they have like board games
Nice.
and books, and there's like a signed photo of Dave Coulier there. Like it's just like a niche little community space where everyone's welcome, and the owners are very like active in the community too. So they'll sit there and chat with you and talk about what's going on. So that's a day fixer right there. The slowdown.
Yeah. Go there and you're in a good mood. Uh, I live down the road from the Milk House, so I used to go there all the time when it was East Mill, and they're still remodeling the Milk House itself, and to my understanding, they're taking it back to like its original form as a convenience store type situation.
Oh
But
hell yeah!
they knocked down a building behind it and built a bakery that is now officially open called Rue and Lucia, Lucia. Okay, either one, but they officially took over the cinnamon swirl bread that the nunnery used to bake that closed
The,
down. So they,
no way!
yeah, so they have that there. They have quiches to die for. They have like different flavors every day, and they're little mini quiches, or you can buy big ones for events. They have baked goods. They have like a sandwich of the day every day, and it's really not a place you go hang out. It's like a walk in and order at the counter and leave. The majority of the space is the bakery, but they also have like local honey and coffee and like all these cute local things in it. I'm obsessed with it. If anyone in Dubuque hasn't checked it out yet, you need to. I'm telling you, it's so good. All right, next topic. Best smelling store.
Oh, hands down, that is Namaste Athleisure in the Millwork District in
Ooh,
Dubuque.
that's a good
It smells
spot.
good. They've got candles. I don't know what else they've got going, but it smells so good in there. Take a whiff if you're ever in the
Yeah,
neighborhood.
like probably a little incensey and like
hmm
really bring those yoga vibes out. Yeah.
I would
They have
say in Des Moines, Kin Des Moines is like a modern mystical shop. They have jewelry, crystals, tarot readings. Everything they have there smells amazing. And again, it's kind of like an incensey, beautiful vibe and smell.
Yeah, my
Nice.
head immediately went to food, so I love that you guys went to actual like scents. My head is always thinking about food though. But Maddie, is that where you got me my birthday gift?
Oh, yes, it is.
Oh, it's so funny. She got me like it's not what kind of deck of cards is that?
An oracle deck.
Yes. And every
Ooh.
time I have drawn a card from it, it has been so negative. So I don't know what's going on with me, but I tried like two more times since you left, Maddie. I drew cards right before we celebrated my birthday. The first one was isolation. The second one was frustration. And I was like, I'm done. I'm out.
Oh no.
Hey, but Lex, I feel like you after that night you decided that you weren't ever gonna have a birthday bash
Yeah.
ever again. So like isolation and
Unfortunately, it was
frustration
true.
really it made sense.
Yes, it did. Okay. Most dangerous to your wallet.
Marnie, downtown Des Moines in the East Village. Every piece that she selects is gorgeous, and she has such a great eye for the pieces that she puts in her shop, but also she makes sure that she selects products with um that are mission focused in some way or another, and it's a
Oh,
really great shop.
that's thoughtful. I'm going with planted in Dubuque because I love buying plants, but I also go through them really fast because I'm so bad. I'm such a bad plant mom. Maddie was burning me when she was staying with me this weekend. She's like, it's low key like bad vibes to look around and see all of your plants struggling to survive.
That's
But
so
planted in
me
Dubuque
though.
is so I know. Planted in Dubuque is great. The owner is so knowledgeable. She can help you pick out a plant for like specific lighting in your house, which way it's directed, the right soil, like everything from start to finish.
I need to do some of that. I got name tags for my plants, thinking like if I named them, I'd be like more connected to them and that they'd live. It's working for like
Hmm.
some. I highly recommend naming your plants, acting like they
I
matter a
I
little
love
bit
the
did
more,
thought
and
process
you'll
there,
kill them.
Liz. That's creative.
Yeah.
we did
And
like a potting class as a group event for work recently at Planted. So she took us
Cool.
around and helped us pick out plants and then told us about each one and whatever. And I did name that plant Cornelius, and Cornelius is struggling right now. So I need to
Damn.
work on, I think it's in a bad spot, but
I had a Rasputin plant that's just done. I'm like, you were doomed from the start. You didn't look good. Eh. Right. Rest in
they're
peace.
You
hard.
you need a plant daddy. My husband is a plant daddy and he wakes up every morning and like sprays them with like a water solution and plant food. And it's great. I am very blessed. That's why I married him, I think.
He does a lot of that. He's good at that kind of stuff. Okay, so here's one most likely to be recommended to an out of towner.
Well, in Des Moines, that's easy. Ray gun. Like, if you want, because if you're from out of town, if you come to Iowa, you of course need a souvenir. You need like a kooky souvenir. So you go to Ray gun, you get something, you appreciate it forever, and you move on. Or you go back. I will always push for Ray gun. You got to get at least one t-shirt there, or you're not an Iowan.
It's a quirky store. I like it.
If you're an out of towner and you're coming to visit me, I live about 500 feet away from the university library on the corner of 35th and University. And it has the best patty melts, the best burgers. They have like the largest selection of beer known to man for like this tiny little place. And every month they have a new Octo Box where they feature like a local brewery, not necessarily from Des Moines, but from somewhere. And it is so great. Have you been there? Yes.
Yes. So I went on an architecture tour of the Drake neighborhood, and that was one of the stops. And I was not expecting it because I'm fairly new to Des Moines still, and I don't know much about like the neighborhood. First of all, architecture tours rock. Architecture tours of the Drake neighborhood rock really hard. There's a lot of hidden gems. But yes, I squeezed into the library, and I think I had a mimosa. They like had them there waiting for us for the tour. It was fantastic. But I got to try the food now, is what I'm hearing.
Yes. The library's known for the best nachos in Des Moines. It's painted on the outside of the on the wall outside. But they're like flour tortilla chips.
Okay.
So they're not my jam, but I love everything else.
And they're claiming to be the best. I'll be the judge of that. I'll go there tonight.
You should.
Just kidding.
Yes, you should. Because I think it's hit or miss. Either people love them or they don't. I don't know if it's self-proclaimed or what, but it works. When you bring up the best nachos in Des Moines, it's constantly brought up. So, but oh my gosh, I need to go on this architecture tour. It's literally in my neighborhood. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah. I think they do them a couple times a year. My boyfriend's an architect, so I like am into that stuff now and like go on tours for that. But yeah, a lot of the buildings around Drake and like in the neighborhood rock. What's the diner? The Drake Diner itself is like a gem from old times. The style and everything, it's fantastic. It's
Oh
another
yeah.
place you should definitely check out if you visit Des Moines.
Not gonna lie, when you first said you went on an architecture tour, I was like, does she think she's talking about the real library? And then I was like, oh wait, you said
No.
mimosa. You said mimosa. You're thinking of the right one. It was
Yeah, I
funny.
just
You're
start talking about the
concerned.
books. Yeah.
Yeah, you're like in the books
Clever
for
name
so
though for a
smart.
bar.
Yeah, the plan
Yeah,
word is
right.
genius, especially for like a college
Oh yeah,
bar.
that is
Which
funny.
reminds me, so
That's a
this is
good
going to
one.
be inappropriate, but you are both from Dubuque. Do you remember when there was a strip club in Dubuque called The Office?
Yes. And then it turned into a play place for kids, and now it's a gymnastics place for kids. So
That building has
A
lived
lot of
many lives.
a lot of
yeah.
physical contorting is going on there.
That's so funny. My parents have a bar by them in Arizona called The Gym, and they laugh about it. They're like, we're going to the gym tonight. Cool. Enjoy your tacos at the gym, you guys.
I love that.
Okay. That was fun. That was a good little, a couple good shout outs we got.
Yeah.
Love local.
So we talked a lot about shopping and eating, but supporting local isn't just about shopping and spending money. Are there some other ways that you guys think that people can get involved, maybe in more of a creative way or things they can show up to?
Totally. You said it. Showing up is a big thing. So if you live in a place like Des Moines, you've got the farmers market every week starting in, I think it's May. It's not coming soon enough. But local events that are free to attend, there's a lot of free concerts that go on around the state, free or with a small fee. But showing up and supporting local musicians, local talent is another way that you can support your community. You don't necessarily have to shell out a lot of money to attend local events too, which is really great. But a lot of it is just showing up, having a presence at places that are supporting local talent, shops, what have you. If there are people creating art, get out there and find it, go support it, applaud for it, take pictures, post it, do what you can to show other people, hey, there's something really cool happening here and we should support it. We should rally around it. One thing that I think gets a lot of people excited every summer is Hinterland, the music festival that takes place in Des Moines or outside of Des Moines. And I mean, all things considered, it used to be kind of a small, low-key, not really like out there concert series or festival. People get really excited about it, so then they talk a lot about it, and now it's got like the max capacity of people who can be there. They have adjusted their venue this year to accommodate more people. It's just the interactions and the memories that you make places. It doesn't necessarily have to be a hinterland. It could be a smaller festival, but just showing up, hyping it up, and enjoying yourselves and helping other people find and enjoy those things too is good stuff.
You made Maddie smile when you said that.
I made you
I
smile.
just got my ticket for this year. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Woo! Are you going to all 3 days?
Yes, I have a group of two other girls, and we camp every year all three nights. So we always have a lot of fun, and it's kind of a tradition at this point.
I'm really excited because Dubuque is building an amphitheater down by the river. And so I'm so anxious to see like how that evolves, what kind of shows they get there, but just another way to bring people to Dubuque.
One really important place that I want to touch on that just came to my mind is one event that you can show up to is First Fridays in Des Moines at Mainframe Studios. When my family's in town on the first Friday, I take them every time. It's basically, I think it's open from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. the first Friday of the month, and they're open they usually have live music, food, drinks, and essentially Mainframe Studios is it's a collective of, I think, over 150 to 200 artists. Yes, and it's their studios. So every studio you walk into, you're seeing something completely different. And they show up on Fridays so that you can walk in and purchase their art, look around, have a glass of wine, a beer. And it is honestly one of the coolest things I've ever seen.
First Fridays rocks.
Have you been to a night market in Dubuque, Maddie?
I have not. No, I've never been in town on a Thursday.
Yeah. So it's every first Thursday of the month, I believe, but a similar concept where there's live music, food trucks, local vendors, some of the stuff you would get during the day at a normal farmer's market comes, but then there's artists selling their crafts too, a little bit more of that than you normally get. But again, such a great time, and something about doing it at night in the summer just makes it even better.
Are there any other unique ways that people can volunteer, donate their time, or engage with local organizations?
Well, there is always something to volunteer for. What I found kind of in this journey of being online and kind of like being someone that people reach out to ask, what can we do? How can we be more involved? What can we do? Um, Typically, there are, I can guarantee you actually, there are organizations in your city, in your town that need help and would appreciate whatever skills you can bring to the table. You don't have to be the most outgoing person going door to door fundraising for an organization. If you like to color, you can probably volunteer somewhere and just color with kids or color with elderly people. If you like to, if you're chronically online, I'm sure there is a business or nonprofit organization that would love your help with running their social media pages. That's a huge thing for people, especially in older generations. We're kind of lucky because we grew up with the internet and we know how to navigate social networks. Uh, Great way to volunteer for an organization is to get their permission or work with them to make sure that what they are saying in their message is amplified and shared online.
I don't think that when people think about supporting local, that that's something that their mind goes to first. And so thank you for bringing those types of using your skills or your hobbies. So it's not going to feel like a chore, right? Like we want people
Yeah.
to enjoy it. Well, now that we've had our support local TED Talk, I want to challenge everyone to make one local purchase a month, whether it is grabbing coffee from a neighborhood cafe instead of your local Starbucks or Dunkin', or picking up a gift from a small shop instead of purchasing something at Target, or try a new local restaurant. So, we want you to tag us in your local finds, share your favorite small businesses, and let's all make a goal and set an intention to show love to the places that make our town special.
I mean, thankfully, we live in the internet age. So if you Google town name that you live in, local shops or local businesses, there will typically be a small business or local business directory. That's an excellent place to start. Once you can identify a few places that make sense for you to frequent or visit once or make a purchase there, keep them on your radar and return. Tell a friend. Unfortunately, it does require a little bit of effort. Every good thing does. So take a little bit of effort, go to a local place, talk to a local person, and keep your dollars local. It'll pay off.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining us today, Liz. Like I said, it was a long time coming for us. We're happy to have you. And I think what we talked about today is really important. Where can our listeners find you?
Your listeners can find me anywhere on social media. I'm on TikTok while we have it, at Liz from Iowa. Same thing with Instagram. I'm on Blue Sky. I don't know if anyone's using Blue Sky, but they're on. It's there. Otherwise, I recently redid my website, so it's just lizfromiowa.com. And it's not just my home state at this point, it is my whole personality.
Not a bad personality to have.
Right. Could be worse.
Yeah, thank you. But thank you both for having me. This was awesome.
Yeah.
Hopefully, maybe we gave somebody an aha moment. I always say that, and it's probably so annoying, but like just thinking about these and us having these conversations, I know that it brings it all to the top of our minds. So again, people, be intentional, take the extra effort. It'll pay back not only in your communities, but like maybe with some karma. So
We all could use a little good karma. So,
yeah.
cool. Well,
Thank you. And you know where to find us. You can follow us on TikTok, Wait You're Mad, and Instagram at Wait You're Mad.
yep. And tune in every Wednesday for new episodes on basically everywhere where you would listen to a podcast.
Bye.
Bye.